Happy Monday. It's RootWork LLC, where we talk about everything is healing. So today we're getting back into our Mindful Mondays, and that is where we just kind of talk about the energy of the week, get some motivation, kind of know what's going on at the beginning of the week, midweek, end of the week. My motto is, when we know better, we do better. So, let's talk about what we can expect over the week. And then I'm going to always give us 3 cards for the mind, body, and the spirit. And hey, if the messages resonate, take them, accept them. Feel free to leave me any feedback. All that. So let's get into it. So today we start the week off. It's Monday, and I don't know about y'all, but productive. I always go into Mondays being productive. I always feel like the way you start your week is the way you end your week. So the energy supports us in that, because we're starting out with the 3 of Wands. So I really think that this Monday is going to be about business, being business oriented, you handling your business. I think a lot of people have they've kind of laid seeds in regards to things that they want to achieve. So I do think that you may get some information or get some reassurance on some of the things that you've already started on, whether that was finishing up what you maybe put down either yesterday or Friday, and now ready to take more action towards accomplishing that task today. Nonetheless, this is a really a lot of fast-paced energy. So I see us being super productive. I also see some people that could be discouraged, just more so thinking about some of the energy that they kind of already put out there, and just kind of waiting to see if it's going to pay off, kind of seeing if hard work is going to pay off, or if you set the tone, trying to see if you're going to have some return on investment. So just know it's coming. Okay, look for the little things. A lot of times we're looking for a completion immediately, but there's always steps to get somewhere. So I would say to look for the signs of little progress, because a little bit equals a lot. By Tuesday, I think that we are going to have lessons in staying in control. And so you're going to have to ask yourself, am I being balanced? Because I do think that even though Tuesday is going to be about, balance, I think that you're going to have to see it if you don't. I also want to give you the message of only control what you can control. Don't try to control others, because that's not really about what control is about. And so we do better when we are in control of what we can be in control of. Okay. So, that's going to be important. I think Wednesday is going to come in, and we're going to have to find a balance in Wednesday, because it is going to be an off day, kind of feeling that 5 energy. So we may have some people that's a little bit feeling some sorrow, a lot of water up underneath the bridge. Listen, allow your emotions to flow. Don't become the emotion, right? Emotions are facts, but only for the moment. We flow through them. So, it's going to be a lot about ebb and flows. Don't be arguing. So you may find yourself in a situation where you're having to argue, or it's one thing to stay in a conversation to get what you need out of the conversation, but it's completely different when you're not reading the room and you realize that the window of tolerance has closed, and there's going to be nothing else that comes from what you're trying to to get. So be mindful so that you can know how far to take a situation, or to know what to expect, because we tend to be in control when we know when we know that there's a situation that's becoming out of our control, should I say. Thursday, I do feel like somebody might be in some limelight energy. So, the cameras may be on you in a good way and or a bad way. If you're looking to kind of overcome something or find victory in something, you may not experience this till Thursday, because that's what the energy is going to be. I also think it's going to be more of a nostalgic energy as well. So you may find yourself reminiscing or kind kind of where the past becomes the present. So lessons of yesterday become real life today. So understand that as we are trying to accomplish things, and a lot of us project ourselves into the future, but the changes you make today and the knowledge you apply today is what creates the future. And so we're not just talking about a year, we're talking about the next day. So if you want to see victory tomorrow, that means that starts today and whatever it is that you're doing. By the time Friday gets here, I do think that we're going to have some opportunities. What I also want you to know is that with opportunities is options, and options is choice. So make sure that all your options are viable. Don't make your decision and you are not sure if the options are even viable. I say that a lot because a lot of times it seems like we have a lot of options. But when you think about like your situation and what you're trying to accomplish and where you're going, you're going to have to ask yourself, is that a viable option, or is that instant gratification versus delayed gratification? And so if it's instant, a lot of times it's not the best choice. And I'd also throw this out here. If you only have one option, then you need to stick around, hang around until you find another option. Keep in mind, we're looking for the best choice, not the right choice. Okay. Saturday, I do feel like we're going to come into some lessons, some cycles. So maybe some repeat. Typically, whenever we have repeats, it's usually because there's a lesson involved. So make sure that you're applying yesterday's knowledge to today so that your lessons bring about growth, right? I also feel like this also is a time for enrichment. So kind of what did I learn, right, from the lesson? Because Sunday brings in assessments. And as we complete in the week, it's a great time to look over the last 8 days and ask yourself, especially if you have personal goals for yourself, ask yourself, hey, how much closer am I to the goal that I wanted to get to, right? This is when we pick up rapid cycle. Rapid cycle just means that if something's not working, I'm not going to put a whole lot of things in place at one time, but if I take one thing, put it in place at one time, and I come back the next week and I assess that, assess it. If it's working for me, then I'm going to keep it. If it's not working for me, I'm going to either beefing it up, or I'm going to figure out what else I can put in as an intervention, right? Because as we get to the full cycle of the moon, then if what's not working is not working, then we need to trash it and completely start something else. A lot of times we're staying in decisions, places, thoughts for way too long, and we're not putting any other interventions in, and then we're wondering why we're not accomplishing our goals. So Sunday is going to be a great day to be able to analyze, to assess what was working, what didn't, and to set the tone for the next week. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead at this time and I'm going to pull our 3 cards. Sorry. And I've already gave this deck a shuffle, so I'm going to cut it in 3. And then I'm going to pull one for the mind, the body, and the spirit. And let's see what's coming up. So in our mind, we come in as the Queen of Pentacles. This is a good energy to be in. This is that self-abundance. This is self-determination energy, Oshun energy. This is that energy where you have a clear path you set out for yourself, right? And you know what it takes for you to become what it is that you want to become. You may even be walking in your destiny, or aligning yourself with career, aligning yourself with something that is going to bring about growth. You've been doing that. So if you've been doing the work, pat on the back, because you're stepping into that very feminine Queen of Pentacles energy. And that is, not only are you have been creative, but you've taken actions on that creative side, and because of that, you've manifested some of the things that you want to manifest. This is you understanding that you are the only person in charge of getting to where you want to go. Right? This is knowing that. I think we put too much emphasis on what isn't working, what distractions is in your way, paying attention to telling people stuff. Listen, Everything about what you accomplish is completely about the work that you put in to get there. And so that Queen of Energy is showing that in the mindset, this is where your mind is at. Now, the goal is to align the body. So as we get into the body comes in with the card of strength. And I do feel like that this is not an easy task, and it hasn't been an easy task at all. To be creative, that red speaks to being able to be creative. In order for you to accomplish anything, you've got to have a plan first. Not having a plan is a plan to fail. And so a lot of times people want to end up at the finish line, but they never knew how they was going to get there. And then the finish line tends to be this episode that it displays this hard work. Well, in reality, all the lessons was in the journey of getting here in the first place. So that's why the strength comes in, because the body, listen, just because we want to be creative and we're wanting to establish something and we're wanting to be able to reap the benefits of what we created, it doesn't mean that you don't have other responsibilities in other areas. It doesn't mean that it's going to come without you needing to be strong, without the test of your endurance, without you learning lessons about strength. And we're not talking about just physical strength. We're talking about mental fortitude, right? Being able to withstand those long nights, being able to design a plan that allows you to be the best at what you're being with the energy and in the situation that you're currently in. A lot of people are doing 5 and 6 things at one time. And so to have the mental fortitude to be able to maintain that and continue to have clear sight and balance, like that's key. So where you're going is not going to be without test. It's not going to be without strength. It's not going to be without learning how to be a lamb when you can be a lion, or when to be a lion when you want to be a lamb, because all of those are going to be the lessons that you have in the cycles that you can continue to go through as you're trying to get where you at in this physical space of the body that you in. And then what comes in last is the Justice card, mind, body, and spirit. So I truly believe, this is just telling me that you need to understand that for one, you need to act in just. So whatever it is that you're wanting, it needs to be just. Your behaviors to get there needs to be just. Always gentle character, good character, because that is what gets us to where we need to go. Especially when we have lessons in here that's going to provoke that lion in us, right? Or it's going to provoke that lamb in us, because both have their goods and their bads, right? And so you're going to have to be just, especially if you're looking for a more just outcome. This is also saying, listen, don't ask for something that you're not willing to put the work in to get, right? We're over the fact of understanding that we're just going to send a prayer up and all of a sudden everything is going to come down, right? Faith without works is dead, right? So in order for you to have a just situation, then you need to be making sure that you're doing your part in just too, right? Our relationships in the Moja are here on earth is about reciprocity. We get what we put in, what we put in it. Right? So you can't be expecting something and expecting this huge outcome for something that you've not spent overnight creating, and then you thought that you wasn't going to put any other effort in it, right? It's going to come with lessons. It's going to come with lessons of strength, because in order for you to sustain what it is that you're asking for, that is the reason why the lessons is necessary, not just the ending, not just the gratification of completing a task, but how I got there. So that whenever we find ourselves kind of folded up in between, we have that fortitude to go back and say, you know what, I've been through this before, right? I've been tested this before, because life happens in cycles. It's not linear. So a lot of the lessons that we have in one area of our life, they show up again in the other areas of our life. But when we paying attention too much to the end product and not how we got there, we miss out on it at all. And then we find ourselves in very unjust situations. So stay on the right side of life, and the right side of life will stay on side of you. Stay balanced, right? This is that Mayat energy. So definitely stay balanced in everything that you do. So those are the messages that I have for you on this Monday. I hope it helps you throughout the week. If you need a more in-depth reading, so reach out to me at rootwork.llc.com. You can also